Tēnā koutou katoa. My name is Danny Bedingfield. I am a digital skills facilitator working for Cyclone based out of Wellington. And I want to document a little bit of a challenge that I've been meaning to do for a while, and that is to use a Chromebook as my sole device for a week or two and just see how it goes and any issues I might arise or any little tips and tricks I might find for you. And the Chromebook that I've chosen is the ACER Chromebook 514. Kind of a couple of reasons I chose this. It's on the Tele laptop system, so it is available to teachers. And secondly, it's got a 14-inch screen, so it's a bit bigger than some of my other little Chromebooks that I use in classes. It's got 8 gig of RAM, it's got a 256 gig hard drive as well, which makes a big difference. So I'm going to open it up in a moment and have a little look at it. And then every day or two, post a little update as to what I've found, any challenges I've run into, anything that I've found has really helped, and things that have been really good about it as well. So ACER Chromebook 514, let's have a little look inside here. Official unboxing, not too much paperwork or boxing, which is good, better for the environment, recyclable boxing, which is nice, so that's good. A little bit of an instruction pamphlet here, which is nice. Better keep that before I can send it back. Alright, first impressions, actually pretty light for a 14-inch laptop, that's awesome. Ooh, very nice. There we go, we have our ACER Chromebook. Looking pretty good, yeah, really nice light, very nice form factor. Now, a couple of really cool things. USB-C charging, like a lot of laptops these days, so I'll be able to charge it with everything that I use for my phone, cameras, all that kind of stuff. We've got one normal USB-A port headphone socket, always useful, and over here we have got another USB-C port, which is always useful as well. Let's get it open here. Yeah, that's great. That's got a much bigger screen. The 14-inch screen is, much bigger than your standard sort of 11 or 13-inch. Great full-size keyboard. Really nice big trackpad there as well. And it's going to start up automatically. So what I'm going to do is get it started up, get signed in. Probably the first thing I'll have to do is get some updates running on it. A little disclaimer as well on this little project that I'm running is that Cyclone, a commercial company, like most, runs in a Microsoft ecosystem. So I do a lot of work with schools on Chrome, on the Google Education Suite. I'm a Google certified trainer. Yes, no, we don't want Chromebooks. I'm a Google certified trainer and coach. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer and really into Minecraft. So it's going to be interesting to try all those things out, see how it works for me over the next week or so. And as I say, I'll keep everybody updated on that. So stay tuned, and I'll tune into this video some updates and some first little tips that I do to get it all set up. Ka kite. Couple of quick setup updates. It was really quick to get going. Just signed into my Cyclone School account, and it's just immediately started downloading all my apps. It's a managed Chromebook, therefore it's just going to start doing that for me, which is fantastic. A couple of key pointers for me. I'm just going to show you. I'll cut to the screen here. I've popped in here. Really, a big positive I'm really looking forward to is the battery life on this device. And essentially I've jumped in here now. It's been in a box for a while, obviously. It's sitting at 42% and there's over 6 hours of the battery life remaining. So you should be looking at, on a full charge, 12 hours. It's easily going to last a day, if not a couple, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, got to that. And the other thing I'm just going to quickly look at now, going into the settings here, right down the bottom left, about the Chrome OS operating system. And I'm just going to check for updates. I want to make sure I'm on the absolute latest update. So I've got all the really great software such as the screencast and things as well. So I'm just going to check for updates there. That'll take a little while again as well. And my next update will probably be setting up some of my shortcuts and things to really get it working for me. Kia ora everyone, back again. I'm on about day 3 now of using the Chromebook as my sole device, and I just thought I'd update you on a couple of little things I've done to help me with setup. So first thing is using the everything button, which is that little circle sort of searchy button there. I just wanted to make sure I had access to the apps I use most. So for an example, Minecraft Education here, if I right click on that, I've got this option to pin that to the shelf. So I just wanted to make sure, and I can sort of reorder those things, put that where I want it. I wanted to make sure that I had the most common apps down here. I've got my screencast. I created Book Creator as an app, and I'm going to show you how I do that now because this is one of my favorite tricks. So I use a piece of software or a website called Adobe Express. It's a lot like Canva. It does some really cool things like this generative AI now built in, where I can say image of a tiger swimming in a lake. And I can just generate that. And usually it takes a few seconds here and there, and it will generate an image for me of, hopefully, let's see what comes up. And what's really cool as well is once it's generated, there's all these neat little tricks you can do with theming it. It gives you different results. You can even remove the background color at the top, which is pretty cool. So there's one option of what I could have. And then there's other options coming. Oh, well, I quite like that one there. That's a cool one. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this site as an app, or as sort of install it into the Chromebook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the top right-hand side of my Chrome browser, 3 little dots up there, and I'm going to go all the way down to More Tools, and in here will be the option, oh, there we go, More Tools, to create a shortcut. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to call it Adobe Express. I'm going to tick this little box that says Open as a Window, and when I create that now, I can now close that browser down. This now pops up as a window, and you can see down here in my shelf that Adobe Express is now its own icon on the shelf as opposed to being in a Chrome browser window. I can now just right click that and I can say Pin. So now I can close that, and now I have direct access to that Adobe Express site through an app. And if you've signed into something, it immediately signs you in as well, which is really, really useful. So little top trick for the day. I hope that's useful. All right, I'm back again. This time I've got something that I discovered a little while ago that I really enjoy about the Chrome operating system, and it's the desks. Essentially, Mac and Windows all have this idea of different desktops and how that works. The way it works that I love in Chromebook is you're able to save these desks. So here's a prime example. I've set up 2 tabs inside my Chrome browser here for note-taking, essentially. So I've got Google Keep, I've got Cursive, which is a really great little note-taking app. Any just standard styluses, this is a touchscreen device, so any standard kind of stylus, this is one I've had for years now, it's a really big, solid, chunky one. And so if I was just to make a new note here, let's see, let's go to the 3 dots, maybe put in a background of some wide lines, and any kind of, wide one here, I'm just going to write on here, I can write on here and so on. If I fold the screen right back, I can get a lot more detail and a lot more control over that. Anyway, what I'm doing here now is I'm going to press the Desks button. It's the one directly above the 5 key on my Chromebook, and that brings up my current desk. And what I can do is I can save this desk for later. So I'm going to click on that now, and I'm just going to call it note-taking. And you can see that I've saved a whole bunch of desks: Adobe Express, Classroom, Google and my teacher work, and my Cyclone work. So I can now just close that like that. So let's, for example, if I want to open a desk, I literally just use the Desks button, go to this top here where it says Saved for Later, and as you know, I've said already that I have Cyclone uses the Microsoft system, so in order to get onto all that work, if I have to do some emailing or what have you, I just click on Open That Desk, and essentially now that Cyclone desk is open. That immediately opens up my browser with my mail, my Outlook mail, my home for Microsoft, and my Teams, which is now initializing as well for meetings and so on. And then all I do is hit the Desks button again. Don't close, here's the big advice, I've learned this the hard way. Don't close the set of windows, because then it wipes it out of your saved desks. When you're finished with it, just go Save Desk for Later again, and that will pop it back into your saved desk. So I've got one for Classroom, where essentially I can go in and look at my Classroom, my Google Sheets, my Cursive and things, and then go back into my saved desks again and go, let's save that for later. Well, I want to save, let's open up my Adobe Express as well. And now I've got these different, I've got my Classroom one, and I can then just swap between those as I need to. And just as I say, remember to save desk for later again and go into that. Just a sort of bit of a tidy up thing really at the end of the day. Before you restart your laptop, just save all your desks for later and they'll all be sitting in here. And that's really handy. When I come back, every time I've restarted my device, I can come back and just access and go, right, I'm now doing some Cyclone work, or I'm demonstrating Classroom, or I should probably make one for Minecraft. Boom, 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 just go straight through. So that's a really big top tip if you're using a Chromebook. It's really handy. And my last little setup tip for today, really important as well, accessibility features in the Chromebook. Fantastic, really love them. So just want to talk about how I set up my Chromebooks to deal with that. So I'm just going down into my startup tray down here, and I'm going to go directly to the full settings options here. And all the way down the left hand side is the accessibility. And what you want to do is just make sure you flick on to show the accessibility options in your quick settings. So now that that is on, if I go into my quick settings, I will have accessibility here. I haven't got time to sort of go through all these different options, but obviously two major ones I like to use are select to speak and dictation. And I'll just continue with that. And so what that means now is those two features are now sitting down the bottom here inside my shelf. And so if I was on a site and I wanted to get something read to me, I just literally click on that little button there, draw a little box around something like so.
FIFA Women's World Cup tournament hits ticket sales target after 5 days.
Fantastic. Such a great little feature there. Students can come in and have anything read aloud, just highlight the box. Perfect, just like that. And then perhaps if I was inside Google Drive and I wanted to do a search for something, search for Women's World Cup in New Zealand. Easy peasy, just like that. I don't have to do too much typing. So fantastic features. Those are my two favourite. There's a lot of good accessibility features built into the Chromebook, but select to speak and dictation, having those down the bottom of the screen, every student should have the ability to use those, not just students with inclusive learning needs. Everybody should be able to use it. So yeah, that's another setup option I've done, and I'll get back to you in a day or two's time with any further updates. Kia ora everybody, just another little update. I'm going to be doing some Minecraft education this afternoon, so I thought I would just do a bit of a check on the nice new laptop and see how it runs. So I'm just going to bring up a diagnostic tool. I use this to kind of keep a check on how much you're kind of using, the resources you're using on the Chromebook. It's going to be a lot higher than it normally is because I'm using the screen recorder at the same time. Usually this kind of sits down at about 10%, but it's going to be running at around about the 40 mark because I'm using the screen recorder. But let's open up Minecraft as well and just see how much of a difference that makes once we get a world up and running. So we want to see how Minecraft looks, if I can up the settings, the viewing settings in it as well. So let's just jump in here. It does load nice and quick actually. It's a lot quicker than some of my other little Chromebooks. Let's have a little look at, if we go play, let's view the library. Some of the monthly build challenges are some of my favourite ones. See if we can find something. There's the agent ones. Build a better bedroom, that's always fun, isn't it? But let's have a little look at the comment. Well, it's defend the villages. This is quite a cool one based around famous walls like the Great Wall of China and the Hadrian Wall and so on. So let's just create that world. See what happens here. And this has a bit of an intro to it as well, with a bit of a cutscene, so to speak. So let's see how that runs. So I'll just walk up to that, click the button, let's have a look. Oh, it's clearing quite nicely. Some of the Chromebooks, the little Chromebooks that struggle with this do that draw distance, they call it, so you can see things in the background. Sometimes that can be quite slow to load, so let's see how that looks once it loads up. Great Wall of China, very nice. If you haven't seen Minecraft Education before, you really should check it out. It's a fantastic teaching tool. Alright, let's see what happens now. Alright, so normally what happens, if I run along here, and I kind of get into the building zone and I jump up and start flying, I usually can't see too far away. So let's have a little look at the settings. Let's just go right down to, where are we? Not those ones, the video settings. And there's a setting down here where you can sort of change your draw distance. And so it does actually go reasonably high, which is pretty cool, up to 11 chunks. That's not too bad for a Chromebook. And if we've done to that, it Does it chug? Is it going really slow? No, is it causing any flickering? No, see now I can see like quite far away, which is good. And what I've seen in some of the Chromebooks that really can't handle it is as soon as you do that, all the screen starts sort of flickering around you and things like that. So that's looking pretty good. And what I would do here is I open up my inventory, start loading things into it, and then I would be able to start building my wall. I'd probably build it out of stone to be fair, but anyway, and you just build stuff, and that's what Minecraft's all about, building and breaking stuff, which is pretty cool. So let's just have a quick look now. I'll pause that. Let's have a quick look back at my settings. Yeah, it has gone up to about 80%, which you would expect because it's also running the screen recorder, but it's only memory, well, it's still 2 gig of memory available because it's got 8 gig of memory, which is good. So that's plenty. It's coping reasonably well. And if I wasn't using the screen recorder at the same time, it'd be on about 40%. So I'm happy with that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's my update for today. Kia ora everybody, time for another little quick update, just something I found that was really, really cool today, and then I think I'll do a bit of a summary tomorrow. But anyway, when I'm using a Windows computer, a lot of people don't know this, but there is an option when you go to paste. So normally you do a Control-C and a Control-V to paste things. So here's Control-V, I've just been working on some Tuatara stuff. I'm just going to undo that. And what you can do on a Windows computer is hit the Windows key and V. So instead of Control-V, you go Windows-V, and that brings up a clipboard of all of the things you've copied since you've been on your computer. Guess what? The Chromebook also has that. So here I go. I went into Google Bard, asked for a reading on the Tuatara lizard with some pictures aimed at a 10-year-old level. I've just been sort of copying some of the different paragraphs. So I'm just sort of taking paragraph at a time because I want to lay it out differently and so on. So I'm just doing a Control-C. Now check this out. I go in and I do a search button V, so the do everything button on the Chromebook, and V, and there's all the things I've copied, and it's in the reverse order, so I would go, right, that's the first paragraph I want, hit enter, then I'll do my everything button V again, and I think I'll put the picture in there because I copied that, and then I'll do my everything button V again, and let's put in that one paragraph, and I can just go and copy, paste as much as I like, and as long as instead of going Control V, I use the everything button, search V, it brings up a clipboard of all the things I've copied. That is really awesome. So great little tip there for you. And yeah, I'll be back again soon to do a bit of a summary and wrap up of my 2 weeks. Kia ora tātou, Danny back again here to do a bit of a summary of my last couple of weeks using the Chromebook or ACER Chromebook 514 as my sole device. There was only twice I think I had to break out and bring out the Windows laptop, and that was because I was working at a school and had to show them some of the Microsoft apps on the desktop there. But other than that, Chromebook all the way, and so there's been some real awesome things. I must say the screen size is great, 14-inch size screen, that's been really great. Plenty of real estate when you're out and about doing stuff, which is really cool. I've been really getting into the Chrome operating system, as you would have seen in some of my little clips earlier. Some of the little tips and tricks and shortcuts make life really easy. It is a nice keyboard to use, a nice trackpad, no real issues with the device in that regard. One of the issues I had was in digital meetings, doing a Google Meet and a Microsoft Teams call. The speakers aren't particularly loud, so I think I ended up swapping on to having a headset on for one of my meetings, which made it a lot better. The only other little thing, I guess, I expected when I looked this particular Chromebook up that it was going to have an HDMI slot on the side. It must be a slightly newer version and it doesn't have one of those. So it did mean I had to take with me my USB-C to HDMI adapter. Having said that, Chromecast, of course, setting up to most of the TVs anyway was not a problem. Probably big one for me was the battery life. I'm used to a device that does not have a great battery life, and so this was absolutely fantastic. It would charge in no time anyway, but it was getting, it was telling me it had 12, 14 hours in the day, and then, if it got down to 50%, I'd charge it, and it would take like 45 minutes to be fully charged again. So, yeah, really impressed with the battery life, and that's a pretty key thing for teachers. So I could recommend this definitely as a sole laptop for a teacher. I guess the key thing would be that they didn't need to install any main apps. So that would be things like the Adobe suite. If you're a design teacher or something using Photoshop, then that's unfortunately not going to go on the Chromebook. Or perhaps if you have to install other software like Kmart because you don't have the web version. If you're using web version Kmart, web version Hero, then you're going to be absolutely fine. Lightweight, robust, yeah, really great. I can highly recommend. And it goes on the Tala laptop store absolute even. You don't have to pay anything. If a teacher chooses this, then the school pays absolutely nothing. So there's my 2 cents worth. It's been a cool couple of weeks. I really enjoyed the Chrome operating system. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Take care, everybody. And if you want to find out more, then contact the Cyclone people, the Tala Cyclone people. Fantastic. Thank you very much.